Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Moments in the Bible. Yes, it's Moments in the Bible. I did say word last week, but that was my mistake. I made an error, and hopefully we can all be humble enough to confess our faults one to another. But this is episode 3 of Moments in the Bible, and we're going to be in Luke chapter 19 today for our moment in the Bible. And interestingly enough, I had something that happened this morning where the Lord really pointed me in this direction of what He wanted me to talk about today. And just for your future reference, I've decided that every Tuesday seems to be the day that I have enough time to do this and do it well. So Tuesdays, you can look for this recording to come out. Whether we actually record it on Tuesday or not is irrelevant, but on Tuesdays, we will be sending out these recordings. I have not set an actual time yet that we'll be doing it, but if you want to know where to get your short moment in the Bible for the week, it'll be every single Tuesday. In Luke chapter 19, verse 12, we come across this parable where Jesus is giving. The Bible says in verse 12, "And he said, therefore, a certain nobleman went into a far country to receive for him a kingdom and to return. And he called his 10 servants and delivered them 10 pounds and said unto them, Occupy till I come. But his citizens hated him and sent a message after him, saying, We will not have this man to reign over us. And it came to pass that when he was returned, having received the kingdom, then he commanded these servants to be called unto him, to whom he had given the money, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. Then came the first, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 10 pounds. And he said unto him, Well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in very little, have thou authority over 10 cities. And the second came, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 5 pounds. And he said likewise to him, Be thou also over 5 cities. And another came, saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound, which I have kept laid up in a napkin. For I feared thee, because thou art an austere man. Thou takest up that thou layest not down, and reapest that thou didst not sow. And he said unto him, Out of thine own mouth will I judge thee. Thou wicked servant, thou knewest that I was an austere man, taking up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then gavest not thou my money into the bank, that at my coming I might have required mine own with usury? And he said unto them that stood by, Take from him the pound, and give it to him that hath 10 pounds. And they said unto him, Lord, he hath 10 pounds. For I say unto you, that unto every one which hath shall be given, and for him that hath not, even that he hath shall be taken away from him. But those mine enemies which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me." Well, there's a lot in this passage, both from a leader perspective and also from a person who's being led, a servant's perspective, a follower's perspective. I mean, really, a leader should be a servant. From a leader's perspective, there's several things. I mean, first of all, we see that the citizens hated him. Now, I understand that they hated him because he was a new person coming into a new area. And it's not that necessarily his servants themselves hated him, but the citizens did. The people that he was going to serve, so to speak, hated him. And as leaders, we need to strive that people do not fear and hate us, especially in the ministry. As shepherds, we should be there to love, to protect, to guide, to nourish, to nurture, to grow. We should be working very hard to work from a position of building and investment as opposed to that of fear. It's not a good situation when you're feared. And you know what? Hey, 2 of these servants did something good, but the third didn't. Why? Because he was afraid of him. And by the way, another thing from a leadership standpoint, notice that this man did not wait for these servants to report to him. He went and checked up on them himself. As leaders, we can't just assume the people that we are giving things out to are going to do it right. We have to go back and check and correct and provide guidance and move them along so that they get to where they need to go. So as a leader, those are a couple of very, very important concepts. But as I said, it's important that the people that we serve don't fear us, because what happens is what happened with this third guy. Yeah, the one guy takes 10, gets 10 back. The one guy takes 5, he gets 5 back. This other guy's been over here hoarding it, and he's making excuses. And by the way, we have a pretty good indication he was stealing from this man as well. It's a good indicator that whenever somebody is afraid to come to you and afraid of you, there's a decent possibility that they are doing something they shouldn't be doing. But it's not a sure thing. They really could just be acting out of fear when they don't have to fear. We don't even know if this guy really was austere. I mean, the word austere means to be like severe. I mean, he might have been. But the only indicator we have from that is that this guy said so. And you say, but the ruler said that he was going to judge him by his words, and thou knewest that I was an austere man. Yeah, but the point is he's repeating everything back that the other guy said, and his whole point was, if you were afraid of me like you said you were, why didn't you do something about it? And the answer was he didn't. So let's go ahead and switch from the leader perspective to the follower perspective, because there is an important lesson to learn here. Number one, in dealing with leaders like this that we're afraid of, it's important that we ask ourselves, why are we afraid of? The Bible says the fear of man bringeth a snare. No one should be afraid of any man. I certainly hope you're not afraid of your pastor. You're not afraid of your leader. You're not afraid of your teachers. You shouldn't be afraid of us. Please come talk to us. If there is that dynamic, then you can contact me and I'll help you, whoever you are and wherever you are. I do not want you to be afraid of your leader, but that is a problem. You should not be acting out of fear for your leader. And the question is, why? Is there a chance you're mistaking your leader's intentions? One of my favorite books that I like to read on leadership is Extreme Ownership. And in Extreme Ownership, they talk about how the leader is perceived by the people underneath them. And some of the leaders will be dealing with people, and they'll bring in this team, and the team will sit down and talk to these people who are underneath the managers and say, look, I need to ask you a question. Do you really think that your boss wants to tank the company? No. Do you think he wants to lose us money? No. Well, then don't you think that there's something you two can do to work together? Yeah. So think about that with your spiritual leader, whoever it is, especially if you have a perception of them that they're an austere person. Do you really think that they want to hurt people? Do you really think that they want the kingdom of God to go backward? The answer is probably no. Communicate that with them and then work with them on it. Because we tend to cower in fear when we could be getting a blessing. This morning it was dumping rain here in Charlotte. I live up in Charlotte. I'm in Monroe right now, but in Charlotte it was dumping rain, and I took the dogs out. I have a big old fat umbrella. And so I've got two dogs. I got Brewski and Giselle. And of course, Brewski, who's named after Teddy Bruschi, he's a big dog. He's used to it. So he stayed under the umbrella for the most part, and he did all his business. He went back inside. But Giselle gets scared by the sound of the rain, and she gets scared by the look of the umbrella. And so when she's under the umbrella, she's protected from getting wet, which she doesn't like to be rained on. It's cold. Who likes that? But she wouldn't stay near me. And no matter how much I tried to coax her and prod her over near me, the more I tried to get her to stay near me, the more she pulled away and she ended out in the rain. Because she was afraid of upsetting me, because she was afraid of the umbrella, because she was afraid of the sound of the rain, she got drenched. She didn't have to, though. It was her perception, though, that did that. So me as a leader, in this case as an owner, I need to figure out what I can do to help my dog feel more comfortable coming close to me so that she can stay dry and do her business in a more comfortable way out of the rain. Her responsibility, and again, she's a dog, but just take this to human life, would be to realize that I've never hurt her. I'm not going to hurt her. Anything that I've ever done that was an injury to her was definitely an accident. I mean, she's a small dog. She darts in front of me. Sometimes she's going to accidentally get tripped over. And maybe you got a leader who's done something similar where you got hurt by them, and it really probably wasn't their intention. You need to figure out what you need to do to bridge that gap. It's a two-way street. The leader needs to make sure that they're doing what they do so that the people under them don't hate them and don't fear them. I mean, and by the way, it's normal when someone's holding you accountable not to like that. But if someone's not holding us accountable, we're not going to be the people we could be. Let's thank God for that. And it's always okay to give feedback. Maybe they can adjust the way it works. Some people respond really well to tough love. Some people don't. Some people, you come in there with tough love and they're not going to respond well at all. And so really, we need to both communicate up and communicate down. We need to communicate comfort and good intention. We need to communicate concern and trepidation so that what happened to this guy wouldn't happen to us. He lost his reward. And like I say, it appears he was stealing because they said, take the one talent from this guy and give him to 10. And the servants go to get it and say, Lord, he didn't have one. He has 10. Where did he get the other 9? This guy's probably been stealing, which, by the way, is another reason why we as leaders have to check up on underperforming individuals as well as high-performing individuals. We check up on both. You never know what's going on under you. I've seen so many instances where something was happening under a leader and the leader resigned. Why? Because it was the leader's job to know. It's our job to know what's going on under our authority. And I wonder if he checked up on him a little sooner had he found, this guy has been stealing coins. Now, fortunately, he got it all back. But in the ministry, what else could be stolen besides money? I mean, yeah, money can be stolen. Happens to a lot of churches. But what else could be happening? We need to make sure that we are present loving leaders. We need to make sure that our people love what they're getting and feel supported by it. That is your moment in the Bible for today. I hope it was a blessing to you. See you next Tuesday.